Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. So for today, I cannot believe it's already time, probably past time actually, but I need to share with you all my top 10 holiday eyeshadow palettes that I recommend to you, or maybe shop your stash, pull them out of your collection, use them during the holiday months that we are about to head into. So first of all, I just wanted to say, whenever I think of holiday palettes, I think of sparkles, glitz, glam, almost like easy makeup, but the eyes are the statement, you know, you can't look away because they're so shimmery and sparkly and yummy. So for the palette, I have two on my eyes today. Those are the first two that I'm going to start off with. So for the star of the show, the glitter that you're seeing, this is the Pat McGrath Labs, the Moonlit Seduction palette. I mean, how pretty is this packaging? So let me just show you the inside and show you what I have on my lids today. So I do not reach for this palette enough, and after using it today, I'm like, what? Why? I need to reach for this all the time. It's so pretty. I reached for this shade right here. It's a really pretty purple blue duochrome shade, very beautiful. And then I reached for this little pretty gold one, but yet it has silver in there, so it's not I would say like a true gold, but I don't know, it just gives like a dewy wet look to the lid, and I'm here for it. And then I also went in with this really dark, deep, cool tone gray leaning shade. It's like a gray brown, but that one is like really intense for me. So let me show you what I blended it out with. I went in with the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette, and I reached in for just some of these cool tone shades to get a very easy blend. So yes, the Pat McGrath Labs, this palette right here is perfect for holidays. The sparkles, it's so shiny and just beautiful. So this is a perfect gift as well. But for me, I recommend the Natasha Denona one over it just because it's so easy. So if you find yourself needing just a palette that you can pop into and get an effortless look every single time, you don't need to think about it, but you need something easy, but yet it's a statement for the holidays, I think you would absolutely love this one right here. Pat McGrath Labs, don't even hey, that palette is stunning, but it just takes a little bit more time. You can't just like throw it on your eyes and get effortless every time because the matte shades are so pigmented. You have to work with them a little bit more, but both of those shades, or both of those palettes, I'm sorry, are beautiful. So next I wanted to pop into an indie palette. This is from Bella Beaute Bar. This is a Smoky Glam palette. I know a lot of y'all love indie brands. I feel like all of our hearts beat for indie makeup, and I wanted to, I mean, look at this palette. I'm not sure what palettes are available, which ones are out of stock, what palettes are discontinued, but like I said, this video, I don't want to pressure you to buy a palette. I just want you to look in your collection, shop your stash. So if you had this, I think this would make a perfect holiday palette. It looks so beautiful, and I cannot wait to pull it out and play with it again. I want this to be my, I would say like my New Year's Eve. Even though I'm just chilling at my house, I'm going to be with my kiddos, playing games, I still want to look pretty and have a really smoky eye look. So this is one that I think is lovely for the holidays. Now I feel like I've showed you some cooler tones. Now I want to show you a warmer tone palette. Maybe you need a gold in your life. This is a Mirage palette from Alter Ego. Also, this one is more affordable. This one was sent to me, but right here, this one right here, it is so, I just think of the holidays whenever I see this palette. The shimmers are so beautiful. Kind of like the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. This right here, it's easy, and you just get like a stunning look every time. So I wanted to show this in this video in case I have any gold lovers who love to deepen it up with some of these liners in here. I just think that this palette is stunning, and I typically don't reach for golds often, but I think this palette, it's beautiful, and I do like to play with the golds in here. So this is one, if you're on a budget and you want a lovely gold shimmer all over your lid, you don't even have to keep it gold, but those are just so yummy. So definitely wanted to mention this one in the matte shades. It's just one I recommend to people because it's easy. They're very soft, kind of like Natasha Denona formula. You don't have to think about it, and you get a really nice look. So I feel like I have to mention the Glam palette. This is my OG. This was my very first Natasha Denona palette. I cannot believe it. Oh, it's just, I look at this and it makes me smile. This is obviously, I rearranged mine by the way, but I mean, look at this. This is holiday in a palette. So I had to mention this and give this oldie but a goodie a shout out because it is still that good. And I used to reach for it every single day. So every time I have that palette, it just makes me smile and think of, I wore that for so many holidays. I have a few Natasha Denona palettes in here because I can't help it. That formulation is just, that's what I gravitate towards, and her shimmers are very lovely. But I have to shout out the gold palette because this one has become my staple holiday palette. If we always go to my husband's family on what am I saying? Thanksgiving and Christmas, and this is a palette that I always pop into. It just gives such a beautiful ethereal shimmer, and I love these neutral tones in here, and I love, which one? This one right here. It's almost like a green gold shimmer. This is just, if you're curious what I will be wearing on Thanksgiving and Christmas, well, for sure Thanksgiving, it will be this palette. It's just, you know, time and time again, year after year, this is my go-to holiday palette. So I know it's discontinued. Natasha Denona, where is our Midi gold palette? Come on. Hopefully next year. Now let me show you a palette that I will be reaching for. I wore this one last Christmas. So this is a Merry Christmas palette from Odin's Eye. I wanted to just use this one last Christmas because, hello, Merry Christmas. And I will say, kind of because I used to always use the gold palette, I see a lot of the gold palette in here. What am I doing? Okay, you see those tones in here? Aren't they lovely with the pops of reds? Or you keep it super neutral. But if you have this in your collection, pull it out, because whenever I say sparkle, honey, these shimmers sparkle and they shift, but yet almost like a wearable shift in a way. So this is one, it's a fun holiday palette, what can I say? So I definitely had to mention that one. I did not get the Christmas Eve palette, but I was so like, oh, I almost went to get it. And I was like, girl, no, you have enough palettes. So I skipped on that one, but I would love to hear, did you pick up those from Odin's Eye? Because I know they brought them back, and that's awesome. So the last three are pretty basic, you know, just, you know, the boring, lovely shimmer formulas that you love to see on holiday. So this one is Glaminatrix Nearly Natural palette. Yes, she's well used, I'm aware, but there's something about these neutral mattes with these neutral shimmers, and they pack a punch. They're so sparkly and pigmented and yummy. This is another palette where if I wear it, someone's going to be like, your eyeshadow looks so pretty today. So I just keep that in mind, especially for my rankings, because it just looks so pretty on the lids. And I think some of these, they have singles available. I'm not too sure, but if you have this baby, pull it out because she's a stunner. Okay, the last two, I'm going to mention this one. This is from Makeup by Mario. This is the Ethereal Eyes palette. I don't know if this one is still in stock. I know they brought it back, thankfully, this year because it was last year's holiday palette from the brand. But this one right here is Ethereal Sparkles. You don't get much pigmentation with these shimmers. The mattes are just, you know, your basic mattes that ground the palette. But the star of the show are these shimmers. They just give a very wet, luxurious look to the lid. You don't, kind of like the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette, you don't have to think about it and you will get a beautiful look every single time. So I definitely wanted to mention this one because this is another staple in my collection. I think it's absolutely lovely. That's one right there where if I don't ever go to like events, like who am I kidding? I typically just stay at home, but if I have a family event to go to or something like a meeting, something more important, I tend to wear that palette just because you look beautiful without overdoing it. Just, you know, just letting you know where I wear that palette. Next, this is the Patrick Ta, what are you called? Major Dimensions 1 palette. This has been well used. I love this baby right here. Obviously, you can see I've hit several pans. I love the cream shades down here, but this is one that if I have like family pictures, if we're doing fall pictures, things like that, I always reach for this palette because this, for me, it just looks so flattering on me. I'm not completely obsessed, like in love. I'm not saying run out and buy this palette. I'm just saying if you have it, use it, because there's something kind of like the Makeup by Mario. These shimmers, they're more gritty, so they look just a little textured. They give a little bit extra dimension, so I wouldn't necessarily buy more from the brand because I have such like a staple palette right here. But this is one where I do, if I, like for example, my like maternity pictures, things like that, family pictures, this is one that I wear because it always it takes hardly no time to create a look and it's stunning. So we're getting on up there. I've had this for quite, what is it, like 3 years? Is that how long it's been out? So I don't know how long it will be good because, you know how I've seen a few Patrick Ta palettes go bad, but I feel like the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette has kind of replaced this for me, but this is one I still wanted to mention because I'm sure a lot of you have this in your collection. So I definitely wanted to mention that because I can't lie, that palette is amazing. I love it, but I'm not saying you have to run out and get it because you have so many neutral palettes in your collection that I'm sure are just stunning. And I also wanted to mention, I know this is like a bonus palette, but this is the Into the Night. I had to mention this one right here because I just wanted to say, if you need a silver and you have this baby in your collection and you're like thinking of a New Year's Eve look after dark, this is the prettiest shimmer that I have in my collection. It is blinding. I typically don't reach for silvers all that often, but this is one that I was thinking, oh my goodness, for all my color lovers, I'm sure if you love indie, you probably picked this one up. I need to just remind you to wear this on New Year's Eve. Probably too pigmented for me, but wear this for me because it is so pretty and blinding. Just, I don't know, I had to shout that one out. Now I'm a hot mess, but please let me know down below, what palette will you be wearing during the holiday season? What is your go-to? Do you have like a go-to Thanksgiving palette, a Christmas palette, a New Year's Eve palette? Because I feel like in all of our collections, we just have that one palette that we can just pull, like, oh, family pictures, I'm wearing you. Like the Merry Christmas, I feel like that's going to be my new Christmas palette. And then the Natasha Denona Gold, that's my Thanksgiving palette. So, and then obviously the Smoky Glam palette from Bella Beaute Bar, that is going to be my new New Year's Eve palette. So I just want to hear down below some of your top picks for your holiday collection. But that's going to do it for today's video. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're doing well. I hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe. Stay beautiful. Bye, guys.